Oh, there I am.
How are you?
I'm good. I pushed the wrong button and I suddenly disappeared. I'm like, oh, did I just leave?
That's funny. I think I've worked out how to connect it to Facebook, which is really good. So I just got a message just before and someone's like, I can't get in. The link had women changing their WR ... So the first time I sent it out, it didn't. This time it did, so that's okay. I just went and changed it. And there's like 28 registrations, which isn't too bad.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll throw it live on Facebook anyway. So once I've got it there, I can also share. I'll spend some time. We'll just have a chat, say 3 minutes before, and I'll start sending it, and they'll see us chatting, and it'll be all heaps of fun.
Cool. And the Zoom link still stays the same because I sent the Zoom link. That still stays the same. Ayla, how are you? Good. Nice to see you.
You show me, Starrwyn, what you've been doing.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Pretty stiff.
Is it Mother's Day tomorrow?
Yes, it is. Is it Is it for you too?
Well, I think so. It's a bit confusing here. On the internet, some places say Mauritius is tomorrow, some say it's at the end of the month. I'll go for both. Tomorrow and the end of the month.
Yes, darling. Well, we can send that to Starrwyn. It has to go on a plane or a ship, probably a plane, because she lives on an island.
That's for you, Starrwyn.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'll put it on my fridge.
She really funny. I should tell everyone this story. Last night at Mum and Dad's restaurant, she was doing drawings for everyone in the restaurant. And there was this older couple there. They would have been in their 70s, I suppose. And they were a couple. But Ayla said, I'll draw you a picture. And she said, what do you want me to draw? And they went through a few things. And Ayla was like, no, no, no. She said, I'll draw you and your dad. And it was her husband.
Sweet.
He was funny, wasn't it? She thought it was a bit of all right, didn't she? She thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Look at her. She thought that was pretty good. What's happening? Yeah, so the link I sent you is the watching people link, the attending or whatever they.
Round your arms like this.
Round my eyes like this.
Yeah.
Like that. Can you do that?
I'm not sure I can do that.
You have to keep practicing. Can you go like this? Can you go cross-eyed like this? Can you go? You have to look at me. You look at your nose. To do that. Does that feel funny? It stretches your eye muscles. Oh wow, that's beautiful.
I can do that.
You can do that. Mum's gonna say this live.
Are you just gonna ask me questions, or how are we gonna do this? I'm so nervous.
All right. Yeah, we're just gonna have a chat. So what I'll do at the start is I'll just say, hey, it's Starrwyn. I mean, people on my page know who you are, because I talk about you a fair bit. Ayla, would you mind just giving Mum some space now and going with Trent so that Mum can talk to Starrwyn? And then, so what I'll do is I'll ask you to introduce yourself, what you do. I'll say to people that often when we have these conversations, we've got a topic of, conversation that we discuss, but we don't know which direction it's going to go, so make sure they get involved. And then I'll probably do something weird to like make sure they stay involved, like say, Starrwyn, give us 3 facts about you that no one knows. Yeah, and then we'll just have a chat. So I'll just open up and talk about and say living life differently. That's the topic that you chose, and I'll say, you know, my perception of you and what that looks like for me. And then I'll say, what does that mean for you? And we'll just go from there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm literally going to talk to you like we were having a cocktail at the bar in Bali.
All right, except I'm sitting with water and you've got your coffee.
Yeah, exactly. I was first thinking I should get Trent to get me a vodka. And but I did a really funny live with Kathy from the Bald Warrior. She came to my house because she lives in Perth. And
I saw that, yeah.
yeah, and everyone thought it was vodka. It was vodka. Bless it. Bless her, bless her. You don't. All right, Mum's going to start sending this. Like, how's your day been so far?
Mine, been good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything interesting happening?
Well, we're just doing our gigs, which have picked up quite a bit. So
You sing and play music as a family, is that right?
Yeah, but we don't all play, well, some of them play together. I always wanted this family band where we all sort of sing the same songs, but I realized we're all so different. We have different, like, music styles. So we each actually end up having a set. Some play together, like Talis and River and Asia will then play together. Jason and I normally play together. I sing and then he'll do his set on his own, or sometimes I join him. Asia does her set, River does a set, Talis does a set, and then they play together. So yeah, we go live on a Sunday. Jason's play. Yeah, we usually live stream our whole session, which is about 3 hours, probably longer.
Wow. I'll have to get on Jason's page so I can watch it.
Yeah.
Sundays when I do a lot of my driving, so I could just stream it through my car and listen to you as we're driving around.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Hi, Andy. Hello. How are you? So I did just wake up.
Oh.
You did just wake up. You had a big sleep. Yes, you took forever to decide that you wanted to have a sleep.
Oh yes, full of beans now.
Full of beans.
No, I'm wide awake.
Be aware of your feet, babe. Be aware of your feet. All right, Mum's going to start posting this live.
Where are you now? Are you still at your parents'?
I'm at my parents' apartment. So if I go share on a page, I manage Abundant Abbey. All right, here we go. And then I can just share it from there. So you're live now on here. So yeah, we will be very soon. I've got a friend that's here and he doesn't want to be seen. Preparing live streaming preview. So once it goes live, Starrwyn, we'll just start chatting. I'll say, and we're live and this, that, and the other. We're going to start in a minute. I'm just sharing it with everyone.
It's telling me you're live on Facebook. So I'll find it and so I can share it.
Ayla, no, please, baby. Ayla. Please, baby.
Ayla. Well, on the little webinar thing at the top, it says on Facebook. Webinars now live on Facebook.
There we are, and I think we're live. This is the first time that we've done this. So can you please go over there, babe? Mum and Miss Starrwyn are about to start their show. That's okay. So once I go live, we'll be going live, I think, and then I'll start sharing it out. Jody's just got, Abby, please can you email me the replay of your chat with Starrwyn? That's about 4 people that are like, please email me. Okay, come close. I'm just going to hand it. Here we go. Bless her. That's all right.
Oh, shame.
I know. It's okay, babe. I'm going to be about an hour and then I'm going to come down and have dinner with you. Okay? Okay? Excellent. So add a title for your broadcast and check that your stream is connected before you go live. I'm pretty sure that we're connected. So I'm going to press go live. And then that's it. Indiana's still up here. She's getting her bum changed, I think. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, beautiful. I'm going to press go live. Then I'm going to go into my page. We'll see how this works. Where are you going? Well, this could be funny. You're going to try and get down those stairs. All right, hang on. You come here. You come here. Here we go. And I believe we are live on Facebook, which is really you're going to try and get down those stairs. All right. Excellent. We are live on Facebook, guys. We're getting ready to start. It's just that it's just Starrwyn and myself, so we are sharing out all of our... I believe we are live on Facebook. Can you hear me? I can hear myself. It's so funny. Excellent. We are live on Facebook, guys. We're getting ready to start. It's just that it's just Starrwyn and myself, so we are sharing out all of our... I believe we are live on Facebook. That is so funny. Can you hear me now? You can hear me? Okay, excellent. Here we go. I'm just going to hand in the Anna over. Oh my goodness. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to our live on Facebook. Look, I'm a dishevelled mess, mum life, hey? So today, with our Women Changing Their World show, my beautiful, beautiful panelist is the beautiful Starrwyn Tonkin. Now, a lot of you already know who Starrwyn is because I talked to her and about her. I pretty much stalk her mainly. So much. Starrwyn and I met in Bali at the Unstoppable Mastermind. She's become one of my near and dear friends. I'm just, so you know, sharing out this link to all of my pages while I'm doing this so that everyone can jump on board, to my Abundant Abby and the Abundant Ones. And Starrwyn kindly agreed to come on and be the star of our Women Changing the World show, which I was so honoured by because we chose today to do the topic of doing things differently. Now, we're going to get into that in just a minute, but before I do that, Starrwyn, I'm going to open it up and give you the floor because everyone knows who I am. Okay, everyone knows that I'm the founder of the Abundant Life Movement, the mindset maven for the sexy brand building formula, and I help women to unlock their self-worth, grow a set of horns, and give them the skills to be completely unapologetic about creating their success and happiness in the life that they deserve. Starrwyn, who are you, babe, and what do you do?
Hey, Abby, it's so awesome to join you. I'm so excited. Yes, I am Starrwyn. I am the barefoot mom of the Barefoot Six, and the Barefoot Six is our family. There's 6 of us, so we're the Barefoot Six. I'm also a freedompreneur, and I'm a sexy brand building coach. I'm also the founder of Digital Rockstar. So I help women package up their personality into a business, dial in their message, automate their systems, and rock online, all while doing what they love.
Yeah. Excellent. And where do you live, Starrwyn? Where are you calling from today?
Okay, well, this is what I love about this era that we live in, because you are in Australia and I'm on a little island called Mauritius. It's in the Indian Ocean, near, if you know Madagascar or have seen the movie, it's just near Madagascar. Although I'm originally from South Africa.
Oh my God, and that's why she's got a really sexy accent. I love, in our sexy brand builders, there's Starrwyn and there's Dr. G. So Starrwyn has the South African accent and Dr. G has the Jamaican accent, doesn't she? Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Jermaine Beckles. I love it and I'm mesmerized.
I love it.
You guys start talking. Excellent.
I always find my accent is so bland. That's why I love the Australian accent. It's so weird how you just get so used to hearing yourself that when you hear somebody else, it's like, oh wow, that sounds so cool.
We are so lazy. We say nothing properly. So we're so lazy that we don't even use full words. Like we cut the last letters off of words. Going becomes going. Shower is shower. We're so lazy. So thank you so much for calling from all the way from Mauritius. Starrwyn and I have been chatting for about 10 minutes. My kids have been running amok, and we're all settled and ready to go now. So to kick this off and to get everyone in the mood, because I know we're going to bring up some topics today that we're not even sure where they're going to go yet. Sometimes we get very comfortable in these shows. We are friends, we talk a lot, and we talk to each other just like we would if we were talking to each other on one of our coaching sessions or on the internet. And sometimes we go places that we don't even realize that we're going to go. So today's going to be really fantastic. If you guys are live on Facebook, g'day Marilyn, how are you? G'day Jody, g'day my mum's here. There's a whole heap of people jumping on. Guys, please share this out, invite your friends in, and make sure that you get active. If you're watching on the Zoom, you can ask questions on the Zoom. If you are on Facebook, you can, of course, ask questions on the Facebook. I'm up on the Abundant Abby page, so I will see your questions if you are on the Abundant Abby page. All right, so make sure you get involved because we are prepared to answer your questions. But to kick us off today, I'm going to put a barrel in it for dear Starrwyn and say, Starrwyn, tell me 3 fun facts that no one knows about you, or 3 fun facts that people might know about you.
Wow. Sure. All right. Well, I guess everyone knows now I'm from South Africa, so that's not a secret any longer.
No.
We grew our family through adoption. So I'm an adoptive mom. I'm also a foster mother. I had 2 babies that I fostered. And we lived in Taiwan. And we actually also lived on a little island called Kinmen, which I didn't even know existed, but it was between Taiwan and China. So a very tiny little island, 20 minutes from one side to the other.
I'm going to have to look it up. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
And not my strong point. Not my strong point. All right. So the topic for today, thank you so much, Starrwyn, was suggested by Starrwyn. So when women choose to come on this show, so there's a number of women that have said, I would love to be on your show. And I did approach Starrwyn because I really wanted her on here because I knew how valuable this was going to be, because my audience, the mums in my audience, a lot of them suffer from judgment of others. A lot of them are wanting to live their life a certain way, or they're wanting to make certain decisions, not only as a parent, but as a person, and they feel like putting themselves first, is really confronting and really scary. It might be a little bit selfish. They worry about the judgment of others. So here we are. We're getting lots of loves up. Thank you guys. Thank you very much on Facebook. So when I approached Starrwyn and she said, what did you want me to talk about? And I said, I actually don't care. You are so interesting and you have so much to give that I want you to choose the topic. And Starrwyn chose the topic of doing life differently. And when she said that, or living life differently, I was like, yes, because from the outside looking in, Starrwyn, you really don't live a conventional, traditional lifestyle, do you?
No. We don't actually, and we have always done life differently. Well, I should say from when I met my partner, my husband now, Jason, is when I kind of sort of came into my own and let go of. I was never really someone who followed the norm. I was always a bit different as a kid growing up. I was always did things differently. I was never one who followed the crowd. But I still did, in certain situations, go according to society, what society expected of me. But yeah, we traditionally don't follow the traditional path any longer. In all walks, from the way I educate my kids, to the way we live, to the way we earn our money. I guess the way I look. That's a giveaway.
I love the way you look. And I'd love to talk about that more, because I talk a lot on my page about getting rid of the old rule book, that we step into these roles as things happen in our life. When we get a job, we step into a certain role, and then we become a mum and we step into a certain role. And with all these roles come these rules that we've learned from other people. What it looks like, what it feels like, what it means to be a mum, what you must do to be a good mum. Okay, you must do to be a good employee, what it looks like to be successful. And you literally are doing everything that I'm telling all my people that I'm working on, and that is getting rid of that old rule book, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Can we have a chat about the education of your children? Because I know that's something that I'm looking into and I'm a teacher. And there's some funny languaging around the way you choose to educate your children that can be quite emotive and spark some really interesting conversations because of the old structures and the old beliefs. And I know the people watching, thank you, Lisa, for sharing, watching now, it may do that for you, because I know when I used to have these conversations, especially as a teacher, because of my old perceptions, things like this used to get me a little bit gnarly. Not anymore. So can we talk about the education of your kids, Starrwyn?
Yeah, for sure. And I completely understand. My husband's a teacher, so I know where you're coming from. But yeah, I've always homeschooled my kids. We started off on the traditional sort of homeschooling journey. Actually, when I was still in school myself, I didn't like the system. And I just felt that, if I'd been in a right environment, I think I would have enjoyed it more. So I decided when I was still in school that I will never send my children to school. And I had no idea that was even a thing. And so when I got older and I met my husband, and I said to him, well, I got some conditions for you. 1, I want a lot of children. 2, I want to homeschool them. And 3, I want to adopt my daughter from China. Those were 3 conditions. And so, yeah, as a teacher, he was kind of, well, okay. I don't think he thought I was serious, but kids came along, my 3 boys, and they got to an age now where it was school age, and we started homeschooling. And we decided then to move to Taiwan when my oldest was 5. So it was, 6, 5, and 3. And I came across unschooling while I was in Taiwan, because I thought for that year, because we were going originally for 1 year. So while we're there for the year, I'm just going to let the kids explore the culture. That will be their school for the year. And during this time, I was doing research and I came across unschooling. And I thought, well, this makes sense. You know, children learn what they need to learn when they're ready to learn it. Because I tried teaching my son to read. We had some moments where, you know, I would sit with this book, the cat sat on the mat, and he couldn't remember that the word "the" was the same word that we did yesterday, and it was so frustrating. And I thought, oh my goodness, if I have to, for the next 18 years or 12 years, whatever, well, more than that, because I had 3 children, and it was going to be a lifetime, have been frustrated, then I don't actually want this. So when I read about unschooling and learned more about how children actually do learn, I adopted the unschooling philosophy. And my husband, being a teacher, of course, was a little bit skeptical at first, but I just kept feeding him. You know, there wasn't Facebook. I didn't have Facebook back then. So I was more on forums, like the Yahoo forums, and just reading blogs and anything that I could find on unschooling, people who had unschooled before, how their kids turned out. And yeah, my husband didn't take him long, and then he was on board. And so my kids are unschooled. They are self-taught with reading, writing, actually everything they do. They're intrinsically motivated to learn it. So yeah, we're unschoolers.
Was that with Jason? I can just imagine, was that like a first date thing where you laid those conditions down for him? Were you like, before we go and have a second beer, I just need to let you know?
Well, funny thing is, we never went on a date until we got married. Well, we did, but it's a funny story. I had been involved in previous relationships twice. I'd been married and divorced by 19, and then I was in a kind of toxic relationship for 5 years before that. So after all that, I knew exactly what I wanted and how I wanted my life to pan out. And if you weren't on board, then, you know, that was just sorry for you. So when I met him, he actually had a restaurant and pub, and I was the waitress.
Oh,
and
the perfect love story.
Exactly. And his father was actually working with us at the time. He was a partner in the business. And so whenever we did have a day off, and you know, with your parents having a restaurant, there's no time off. So the odd times that we did have a night off, we felt bad having his dad, you know, stay at home. So we took him with us. So he went with us to dinner, went with us to the movies, went with us to the drive-in. And so, well, we never went on a date, really. And by the time we closed the restaurant after about 9 months, and then we just did music full time. So every night we were basically performing. So there weren't like nights to go on dates. And then I was pregnant, you know, we got married, I was now pregnant and had my first baby. And so dates didn't really happen that much. But so it was in the beginning stages of our relationship, because we got engaged 6 weeks after we met. So it was quite a whirlwind, and, you know, we just knew, you know, when you know it's right after you've, you know, been through a couple of relationships, you know when it's the one. And yeah, so it was kind of, these are my conditions. If you're ready to accept me with those conditions, then awesome. So we will be celebrating 20 years this year. So I think it was a good decision.
I think it was a great decision, and congratulations. And just so you know, Starrwyn, and to everyone else that's watching, Jason, Starrwyn's husband, is watching with us on Facebook right now. So he's on there commenting too. And Jason, I know that you guys play in a family band and it gets streamed from your page. So I am now going to be stalking you. But so, hey, Starrwyn, for those of us that haven't seen it before, can you just explain a little bit of like what unschooling actually looks like? You know, because to me, is there a structure? What does it look like?
What do you do on a weekend?
Whatever I feel like.
Well, that's unschooling. we don't have a structure. But listen, unschooling is different for everybody. Okay, you can't really teach someone how to unschool. It's more philosophy, and the philosophy is really the children learn what they learn when they're ready to learn it. So it's like when you potty train a child, although I don't potty train children. It's like training a dog. I wouldn't do that to my child. When they're ready, they will be ready. You can take 6 months, you know, keeping the nappy off every time they pee on the floor. Yeah, oh no, this is where you got to be. You can do that for 6 months. But until they're actually ready and they get it, you're just wasting your time. So I mean, like with my kids, when they were ready, they pulled off their pants, they got on the toilet, and they never had to, wear nappies at night in case they had an accident, because they were ready. So the same with unschooling. When they are ready to learn something, they will learn it. My kids all started reading at different ages, and they learn it when they need it. My boys are very into computers and gaming. They've been on the computer since they were like 3, 5, and 7, 6. And the games that they played, they would need to be able to read because they got kids' instructions. So they played Club Penguin. That was their first online game. And that was just, you did your little thing. But as you progressed, they would have more instructions and they need to read it. So there'd be, Mom, what does this say? Mom, what does that say? You're out somewhere and like, what is that letter? So you're always just being there facilitating. But when they are ready and they're intrinsically motivated, they will find. Scientifically, I actually don't know how it works. I cannot explain it. I've asked my kids the same thing, like, how did you learn? My son, Talis Rain, said to me the one day, my own brain, Mom. So I was like, fair enough. And then my daughter, exactly, like, what kind of a question is that? It's like, how do you breathe? It was like asking them how they breathe. My daughter, on the other hand, learned later because she was more into her art. She loved drawing, she loved art. So she wasn't on the computers and not having to read instructions for games as much. So she only started to read when she was 10. Now, a lot of people would be freaking out by this stage, like, my kid's not reading. But I knew that my 3 boys had gone through the process. I trusted the process, and I knew when they were ready, they would do it. And so she got to an age where now she was interested in reading books and stuff like that. And so she started learning how to read. So that's how she learned. But with her, she was actually writing from the age of 5. And like you were saying with Ayla the other day, she's writing. Because Asia loved to make birthday cards and create, pictures and things for people, she knew how to write, happy birthday, hope you have a lovely day, love Asia. And without knowing how to read, but she knew how to write that. So, unschooling is just, it's a philosophy. It's how you, just trusting the process. And, for us, we don't have any structure. My kids will, just live days as if they were the weekend. That's the best way to describe it, because we don't have, routines where they've got to sit down. There's no differentiating between life and learning.
Yeah.
Learning and life are the same. And when you realize that, it actually, because I hear some people say, I wish I'd studied that when I was younger. I'm like, well, what's wrong with now? It's because you're 40 or 50 or 60, it doesn't mean you can't learn. But because we're so used to being in a system, all right, you do your learning between this age and that age, and then after that, gee, I wish I'd done that when I was, So with unschooling, there's never a beginning and an end to learning. Life is learning, and yeah. So I hope that explains it.
No, that's excellent. Thank you. And I love the story about you, because people don't know, but Starrwyn's family are really successful in their own right. Like, they're amazing sports people, world-class sports people, and they're phenomenal and creative. And you can tell that I stalk Starrwyn now, can't you? Jason, your husband, says kids are natural learners, and I find this really interesting, Starrwyn, because you and I often have conversations about, and with our clients as well, because Starrwyn and I are both head coaches in the Sexy Brand Building Formula, helping women to create 7-figure brands online.
Yes.
And we often talk to people about just trusting that process, just knowing that you're in the right place at the right time, that there's going to be challenges. And to be an entrepreneur, to do something like this, you do have to break free of the system, break free of those old rules, break out of captivity, however you want to put it. And I know, I'll be really honest with you now, Starrwyn, talking to some people about this very, very openly, I know that it's going to make some people uncomfortable, and that's okay, because we are actually in the business of being professional troublemakers. We often say things that people are thinking, but they're too afraid to say, or we say things that they don't want to hear. But we know that we need to do that, because that's a space that we've come from. Both of us have kicked the 9 to 5, or I mean, I went to university for how many years? I flipped around, asked my mum's on here now, flipped around for years and years and years till I decided what I wanted to do, and then I wasn't sure, and then went up that corporate ladder and spent all my time doing that, because I identified as being a really fantastic professional. And then when I became a mum, I couldn't fit there were so many freaking rules and I couldn't fit them all in. But trusting the process and not having to follow the system, I think that's really interesting. And your family, as a general rule, don't follow systems, do they? Or rules
No.
or structures.
No. Yep. I mean, my boys all have long hair, including my husband. So
They're gorgeous,
that's another.
by the way.
That's another thing that, you know, people look at and they go, oh, you know, especially being expats, it's always difficult, you know, trying to find your little, you know, your little tribe, you know, being an expat, you away from home, away from family, away from friends. And it's amazing how quickly, because you don't fit into their box, they don't know what to do with you. And so they just either ignore you completely and just stay away from you, or they judge you, you know. And I've had, you know, they didn't even know my children, but because they had long hair, oh, those are hooligans, you know. And,
They must be.
you know, my boys, they are really, really great kids.
They are.
And I know I'm biased, but, you know, and it is, when you don't fit into somebody's box, they don't know where to put you.
Yeah.
Because everyone's so used to everything being, you know, laid out for them. You're born, you go to preschool, kindergarten, then you go to school for 12 years, then it's studying, then you get your job, that's a secure job, you know, you work to get your paycheck, and then you retire. And once you're retired, if you've got some money left over and any life left in you, well, then you can enjoy it.
If you're lucky.
That's if you're lucky. If you're still alive by then, because if you haven't passed away and died from stress and, you know, heart attacks and everything else.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I said that the other day, you know, I said, and just so you know, your hubby, he's going to town here. I love it. He's talking about 21st century living, kids are life hackers, judge and criticize, which I'll talk to you about in a second. You have to break free from the traditional models of reality. And I love this. Jason says, kids learning naturally take in what they need to know at any given point in time, and this helps them to formulate their reality. It's all about living out of inspiration and passion, isn't it? Not out of need and desperation. Which is something that I discovered, and I feel really lucky, and I think you do too, that I discovered, you know, in my 3rd decade of living. A lot of the women that come to me, they don't realize until they're in their, you know, 5th, 6th, or 7th decade of living. And you know, I'm so lucky because I've got, you know, potentially around 55 revolutions of this sun to create what I want to. So I'm really glad that I woke up now. And when it comes to the judge and criticize, you know, I think we need to be really honest to say that if people want to judge you and people want to criticize you, that's often a reflection of themselves. The people that are the most critical, Cassie said this the other night, are the most critical of themselves. And when you learn to shed your skin and wear your truth, but also have a bubble that deflects everyone else's bullshit, deflect anything that they're throwing at you that's going to dilute your freaking happy, the world becomes a better place. You know, when I chose to throw in my job and start talking to myself on the computer, as I had a number of people say to me, you don't just talk to yourself on the computer. You know, the one word that was thrown at me was crazy. Now, crazy just means different to them. My values are different. My actions are different. What I'm doing is different. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Just means it's different, right? And I remember I used to say, all right, crazy, cool, that's not a problem. So put me on a crazy island with all the other crazy people. Right, so everyone else that's talking to themselves on the computer, everyone else that's not dreaming their life but living their dreams, you chuck us on an island, all right? And then we'll put all of you people on another island that's living out, you know, the way that they want to, and you can look in with a big telescope and look in on us every day, all these crazy people that are living their dreams, and you can talk about how crazy we are, and we'll just hang out together and be happy and do what we need to live our life and be happy and successful in whatever we want. And I'm like, who's crazy now? Put me on the crazy island.
Absolutely. And, you know, talking about, you know, having woken up in our 3rd decade or 4th decade of life, it's another thing that, you know, with my kids, I've always encouraged them to follow their passions from when they were young, you know. And I know a lot of people say that to their children, like, what is it that you want to do? Like, do it now. But a lot of them will say, oh, well, you know, that's nice, but, you know, you've got to be realistic. And I've never done that with my kids. You know, I've always encouraged them to follow their passions, which is why, like you were saying with my kids, my son at the age of 15 became a professional kite surfer. So he travels the world. He actually gets paid to travel the world to kite. So he goes to amazing destinations. He's just come back after 5 months of being away. He was in Cape Town, then in Cape Verde. He's going to be going off to Tenerife in the next few months. Then he's going to Germany, and the end of the year, Hawaii, and, you know, in between there, who knows. So, you know, he really has been following his passions and doing what he loves since forever, but he's now being paid to do that since the age of 15. My second son, Talis Rain, he's the same. He's also into karting. He's a musician. Well, all my kids are musicians except for my youngest. He's the gamer. He's the cat whisperer. He's the gamer. But Asia Faith, she's a singer-songwriter. She's written 6 songs already. Is amazing. And she's just turned 13. So, you know, this is where they've been given the opportunity to really just do what they love. And it's paying off. You know, the world has changed so much. You know, there's jobs today that weren't even around like 5 years ago, never mind 20 years ago. So when kids show an interest in something and it's their passion, we really, as parents, need to encourage that. But even more so, and this is what I spoke about on my live, is that we, as parents, need to follow our passions. I mean, how many of us are stuck in jobs that we hate? You know, that we do things that we don't enjoy because, well, you know, this was the choice I made, or this is what I studied for all those years, and you just keep doing it because you don't want to change out of that system that you studied for. And you're not actually showing your kids or being a good example for your kids to say, hey, listen, you want to go after your dreams, do it, love. But you're sitting in a job hating every Monday morning, can't wait for Friday. So we as women who are the main nurturers of our kids need to actually be the examples. That's my philosophy, my belief.
No, and I'm with you. And my crowd know, my followers know that I'm going to be my kid's champion. I'm not going to have to point at anyone else to do it. That's my job. I mean, you know, I want to be able to say, go after your dream because your mum did. It's going to be okay. And I think it's really interesting. And I even had a conversation with a miner yesterday, Starrwyn, out front of the Cool Gardy Gold Rush Motel, and he had his beard. He just ordered a blue steak, so I was right on it for that because that's how I eat my steak. I was like, yes. And he started talking to me. A blue steak, so just warm, sort of through.
Okay. So there's a pattern interrupt there. Carry on.
But that's okay. Yeah, good one. I hope Chris Benetti and CJ aren't watching at the moment. They won't be happy with me. But no, and he started talking to me about an awakening of the new world and how, you know, different structures. And even him and I had that conversation. It was an amazing conversation, about how in order to be really happy, sometimes we actually have to let go of that safety net. Because we've been taught from a very young age through schools, from our parents, yes, Mum, I know you're going to go, you're talking about me again. But I did learn this from you, Mum, okay? You know I did. You just hate me talking about it. What it looks like to be successful, what it looks like to be happy, what it looks like to be that mum. And, you know, often it's having the house, it's having the car, it's having the shiny things. And all of those things are absolutely fantastic. But what's the point if you're so in freaking conflict with yourself? You know, how many people are, you know, great with numbers or great with, you know, and they build this life with all these shiny things, but then they're so in conflict with themselves because they don't even know who they are. They actually haven't worked out what they want or who they are. They've just gone, well, this is what success looks like. Or this is what a good person looks like in the case of mums that lose themselves. Or this is what, you know, and because that's what they've been taught. So they go after that without even giving themselves the benefit to go, well, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that. And if I could actually live the life of my dreams, this is what it would look like. And someone said to me the other day when I was talking about this, I said, the only reason I can talk about this is because I'm doing it. You know, like give credit where credit's due. This is something that I'm building, and this is what it is for me. And if it makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but this is what it looks like for me. And the fact that I've given I was doing that. I was buying the houses so that when I was 60, I could, you know, go on world fishing trips and do all that stuff whatever, Abby, you know, and in order to, I think you need to give yourself permission to be inspired and to be really freaking honest and to realize that a lot of the decisions you make are based in fear about what you don't want. You don't want to lack money. You don't want to go through challenge. You stay in relationships with people that aren't good to you because you don't want to be alone or you don't want to start again. But you have to but you've got to actually give yourself the time to not dream your life, but then take action to live your dream. And someone said to me the other day, I said it in my life because it was so funny. They said, Abby, inspiration is for dickheads and dreaming is for freaking dreamers, right? And then it was like, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because in order to live an inspired life, you have to get a little bit crazy. You have to say no to the crowd. In order to live your dreams, you have to freaking dream them first. And then you have to act on them. So I think, you know, people run around and they don't give themselves credit. They don't think about what it is they truly want. And some people are actually too scared to even do that. I know many women who've got to the end of their life or older and go, I wish that I never did that, or I wish that I had have done this, or I wish that I had have done that. You know, you hear my mum, I used to hear my mum talk about it. Not now, she's starting to grow a bit of a set of horns. Oh, Jan. So, what was it in your life, Starrwyn? Because I know that there was different relationships that you worked out that didn't serve you. You can go as deeply in that or not as deeply in that as you wanted to. And you were living different structures, as was I. What happened in your life for you to actually go, hang on a freaking minute, no more. I'm not following the rules. I'm now going to do it my way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go back a bit. Like I said in the beginning, when I was 18, I was married and divorced by 19. And, you know, I had the boyfriend since I was in high school, the high school sweetheart, 15 years old. You go through school.
Don't mind me. I'm losing my right.
And, you know, got to the end of school and everyone said, well, you're going to get married now. Like, that's the next step. You're going to get married. You're going to, you know, that's. And I kind of didn't even think about what I wanted in life. I was like, yeah, you know, that's the normal thing to do. You get married. And so I got married. And in that year, it was, you know, he kind of put limitations on me, like what I was and wasn't allowed to do. And I kind of thought, well, okay, is this how I want to live? I was 18. Do I want to live my life having restrictions, being told by a man that I can't do what I enjoyed? And they weren't crazy things. I mean, I just, when I was in school, I used to do modeling. So I wanted to get back into that, teaching. You know, I enjoy choreographing and stuff like that. I also enjoyed doing Latin American and ballroom dancing. So it was just things I would do, like extra classes just for myself to enjoy, because I love doing them, but can't do this, can't do that. To preface that, he was very religious, and I grew up in a very religious upbringing as well, Christian religion. And so I looked at this situation I was in, and I thought, well, do I want to live like this for the rest of my life? I can be unhappy and just live the rest of my life like this, because divorce is a sin. So I didn't want to go down that route. Or do I want to be happy and just live my life according to how I want to live it? I decided to get divorced, which was a big thing, because for both our families that are very religious, I was committing the ultimate sin, okay? And it was difficult. My parents, I didn't really have the support of parents, because it was, I understand, you know, now in reflection, and I know why they behaved like they did. It was, you know, it was difficult for them to see their child divorced at 19, which according to them was a sin. And so I ended up being on my own and living in a really like shady part of town, but it was all I could afford. And I literally walked out of that marriage with my suitcase and my clothes, because, you know, he was a policeman, and he was also very religious in the church. And he said, well, you know, if you want to I was entitled to half of what he had, being married to him. But he stood up and he said, well, if you want to take anything of mine, I'll just stand up in court, you know, during the divorce and say you committed adultery. And I said, well, I didn't. He said, but who's they going to believe, you or me? And I saw a different side of him, and I was like, wow, I'll never let that happen to me again. I said, you know what, I'm going to take my bags and leave. Well, I ended up getting involved with someone who was 10 years older than me. Now, I had this limiting belief in my head that, you know, I'm now divorced. No man will ever look at you because you're a divorced woman at the age of 19. You've committed a sin, and, you know, no one's ever going to look at you again. Now, this was like, what, 25, almost 30 years ago. So when this man came along, he was 10 years older than me, and I thought, wow, okay, I'm not going to be alone for the rest of my life. Anyway, we ended up being together for 5 years, but it was during this time that, you know, he was great Monday to Friday, but Friday nights, alcohol came in, and then he would go from, you know, Mr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Jekyll and Hyde. You know, he was one of those characters, and, you know, it ended up being a very emotionally, physically, and mentally toxic relationship that I stayed in for 5 years, because, yet again, my limiting beliefs led me to believe that this is what I deserved.
Yeah. And at that point, we've gone blank. Have you guys, can someone just tell me, is it me that's been paused, or has Starrwyn, has Mauritius lost the internet at the moment during that extremely powerful conversation? I'll just say, can you guys still see me? Or Starr? So sorry, guys. And this is amazing. And I will let you guys know if you can still see me, that I know Starrwyn is one of my dear friends, and this is a conversation that she hasn't had openly before. So I'm just, can you guys, Hayley, you've just jumped on, a few people have jumped on. Can you see me? Is it just Starrwyn that has now frozen? I will check my Zoom. Oh, it's me. It's Starrwyn that's frozen, I think. Is that what everyone else is seeing? Jason, are you still on there? Now, Jason is Starrwyn's beautiful, beautiful husband. And he's talking about, where are we? Not you, Abby, so it is Starrwyn. Okay, thank you, Lisa. You can see me. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do, thank you very much, is I'm going to give a look at Starrwyn's. She's one of my really good friends. I should screenshot her, shouldn't I? If you've just joined us, Starrwyn was having an amazing conversation. She was actually, she's just written to me and said, sorry, the internet's cut out. I'll say that's okay. I'll tell her that's okay, and we'll get that sorted for you. Island life. She's in Mauritius, so maybe there was a bit too much wind or a bit too much whatever else, but I will pick this up another day when Starrwyn comes, because we were just talking about the idea of getting out of structures and letting go of different rules. So you might have been taught what it looks like to be successful, or what you need to bring to a relationship. And Starrwyn was talking about how she was divorced at 19, which was against the rules of her upbringing and the people within her community. She was also then had spoken to us about how she was experiencing a really toxic physical, emotionally, mentally relationship for the 5 years after that. And the reason that she chose to stay in that relationship was because the limiting beliefs that she had brought with her from the idea of being a divorced woman at 19. She brought the limiting beliefs that she wasn't good enough, that she did the wrong thing, and then that was all that she was going to deserve, was to have to be in this relationship. She now obviously knows that that's not true, and I feel for Starrwyn that it cut out at that moment, because I know Starrwyn very well. This is something that she doesn't talk about often, and she hasn't revealed. So this is going to be a little bit of a beautiful healing process for her. There she goes. You've just got me now. So guys, but on that, I think it's so important, because we do that, don't we? And there's a number of things, especially within Australian culture and Australian society, that I can identify, and depending where you come from as well. And I've got friends, and even myself, you carry those limiting beliefs. You carry that idea that maybe you're not good enough, or you don't deserve better because of a choice that you've made or something that's happened to you. So I know a lot of mums that chose to be mums early, that all of a sudden, they bring that, well, I was a mum early, so now this is the life that I'm going to have, and I now am never going to live out my dreams, and I need to sacrifice myself. And I actually met a young mum last night, and I'll get onto that in a minute. At the restaurant, and she said, I just needed a break after the first 3 months. I said, that's okay. She said, you're the only person that said that to me. Yes! Starrwyn's back! I just said to everyone how powerful that was, and how amazing that moment was going to be, and the conversation we were going to have, and you being so honest about your limiting beliefs, saying that you felt this is all you deserved, and now you're back. I'm so glad you're back. So glad you're back.
That was the internet. The island here, sometimes we have these things.
That's what happens. That's what happens. Yeah. So Starrwyn, you were talking about your limiting beliefs, and how you at that point in time felt like that's all that you deserved, even though it was an emotionally toxic, a physically toxic relationship, that because of the experiences you've had and the old rules that you've learnt, you felt like, well, that's all that you deserve. So you had to remain in that. So I'll hand it back over.
And I hear that from a lot of people, I hear often like, why do women stay in relationships that, that they're not happy in? And when you're in a situation and you have these thoughts, when your self-esteem is not good, when you don't have much self-worth, your self-confidence is not there, you stay. And I think, fortunately for me, I didn't have children at the time, but I can imagine how even more difficult it is when you have children, because yet again, usually you're not earning as much as the man is, so you're stuck, because, well, if I had to leave with my kids, how do I afford to actually leave? So, you stay because of those reasons, and you think, well, okay, maybe when the kids are older, I'll leave then, because then I won't have to worry about the kids, it'll just be me. And so for me, I didn't have the kids, but I had those limiting beliefs, like, I deserved this. So, I didn't feel that I had the ability to leave. Where would I go, first of all? And, at least I knew he loved me, because, the days when he was good, he loved me. So I stayed until eventually, an incident happened where after 5 years, I thought, you know what, I actually can't do this anymore. I need to actually move on. And no matter how difficult it's going to be, I need to get out of the situation, because it's not serving me, and I deserve better. And I think when you realize that and you come to that decision, and like I said, it took me a long time to actually get to that point. But yeah, it's difficult when you're in a situation where you don't actually know. I didn't want to go to my parents, because I really felt guilty, like I left my husband. I divorced him, and I was living with a man. That was another sin I was committing. So, being a Christian, well, I wasn't a practicing Christian, but my family were. So really, I was committing all these sins, and I can't go to them and say, well, can you help me out here, And I also didn't want to go back and have the I told you so story thrown at me. So, it was challenging. But like I said, it got to a point where I actually just realized that I knew that there had to be somebody out there who was going to love me and cherish me for who I was. And if I stayed in this relationship, I would never find him. So I packed my bags. Actually, he literally told me I could pack a bag. And
thank you.
Well, there was, and yeah. So once again, I walked out of a relationship just with what I could carry in a bag. So yeah. And then I met Jason, and yeah, like I said, 6 weeks later, we were engaged and married 20 years now. So. But then
children?
Well, 4 children.
Sorry, 4 children, 6 family members. Sorry, 4 children, the best.
Sometimes feels like 6.
I was going to say 5, because Jason sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I was going to say
yeah.
the best, 4 children. But sometimes I'm sure it feels like that Jason's the child, or that you're the child, or that, yeah, cool.
Yeah. We do have a couple of dogs and cats too, so I guess. Part
of the family. And Starr, I just really want to thank you for being so raw and honest in that. I know, especially with my audience, how much that is going to impact on people. And I think it's really important, because people, often will come away from experiences, and I talk to people about it's not what happened to you, it's how you choose to experience it, it's how you choose to learn from it. And we do a lot of learning, reframing around how I've learned from this experience, not, I've made this mistake, because people will go back to mistakes.
Yeah.
No, I know, like when I chose to leave my daughter's dad, there was a whole heap of old rules that came with that. And people would say to me, you're choosing to leave and take the children away from your partner. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I've given an option to live there, or for him to come. But, I'm putting myself first. And when you say that to people, but you're a mum, you don't get to make that choice. And I'm like, well, yes, I do. And, I know my mum is watching and she is aware of this, but different situation. I've also experienced toxic relationships, and you do get to a point where you're like, I'm never going to do this again. And I actually sat down last night, Starrwyn, to write a book. I've decided I'm going to write a book. My mum would just be like laying chicken at the moment, going, what's she going to put in that book? Not because she's done anything wrong, but it can be really confronting for family members when you start talking about things that you'd learn you don't talk about otherwise. So as an example, I was, and people know now, I was sexually abused as a child. It doesn't affect me at all anymore, and I can very honestly, openly say that it has no impact on my behaviours. It has no impact on the way that I feel. But for about 15 years of my life, it did. Very much like yourself, because I identified as that sexual abuse victim. It was someone that we knew very well. I would even go to their house and have dinner and parties and pretend like nothing happened, because I didn't want to, upset the family and disrupt the community by, outing one of the respectful members of the community as someone that could do this. But for so many years after that, probably my mid-20s, that is what, like you did, like the divorced at 19, that is what I identified with, and it really affected the way that I felt. I allowed it to affect the way that I realize now that I allowed it to. Because of what I'd learned about sexual abuse victims, I remember even having boyfriends towards the end of uni and high school, so my late teen years and early 20s, and if anything happened beyond a couple of dates, or if anything, happened beyond a couple of weeks of seeing each other, I felt obligated to tell them. Yeah, I just need to tell you that this is what happened to me when I was a young child. And looking back, the reason that I did that, Starrwyn, is because I needed to give them the opportunity to get out, because I was going to definitely turn into this disheveled mess like every other sexual abuse victim that I'd seen on the TV. Do you know what I mean? And because I had identified with that, yeah, absolutely. So very much like you. So then, same thing, I wound up in quite a toxic relationship because I was like, well, he's a mess, I'm a mess. And people that have been abuse victims, then, this is what happens, because they can't be the person that they deserve to be. They can't be a good person. They're damaged goods. Same thing. And I brought those limiting beliefs with me until probably it was when Ayla was born. It was until I planted it when Ayla was born. Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't even know that I was married before, because I was always ashamed to even say that I'd been married and divorced because of the stigma. Okay, I think maybe now divorce is more sort of accepted, but for a long time I had the stigma about divorced people, and so I didn't even let my kids know until they were a little bit older that I'd actually been married and divorced. They're like, "What? You went with dad like since the beginning?" I'm like, "No." And even the situation with the boyfriend after that for the 5 years, I've never spoken about it to anybody. Yeah. In fact, I only told my husband a couple of months ago about what had actually happened. I'd never told anyone because I felt it was my fault. I deserved it. And so, also when things happen in a relationship, like rape or whatever, people, how do you call it that when you're actually living with somebody?
Yeah.
So I've never said anything. So, it's all these things that we have in our heads. And then, like you say, you left with your children because I believe that, we got to put on our own mask first. So if you're in an airplane, so you can't be a good role model to your kid if you're staying in a relationship where you're not happy, where you, are living in a toxic environment. So what's going to happen? Your kids learn by your actions. They will then grow up and feel that is the way that life is. If they're in a situation, they'll stay. And so, that's something that I've always encouraged my kids, that, I don't want them to have all these limiting beliefs that, I had, around money. That was a big thing as well. You always used to hear when you were kids, money's the root of all evil. Yet again, my Christian upbringing, you don't, money doesn't grow on trees, and all these kind of things that just stick with you forever. And I always thought, that's why I never had any money, because I always believed this was, the way it should be, Rich people are like, are mean and horrible people. So we have all these limiting beliefs, and I didn't want my kids growing up with those limiting beliefs. And it took a lot of work because, I was not always the person that saw the glass half full. I would always see it half empty, and I know that was one thing that used to irritate Jason. You're so negative, always negative. And so when I started having kids, I realized I don't want my kids growing up with that. So I had to change the way I thought. I had to change the way I thought about situations and things, and, so that my kids didn't have to unload all this baggage by the time they get to their adult life and have all these limiting beliefs. I want them to know that anything is possible, because anything is possible. I manifested my daughter, so I know that is possible.
I did not want to let you get away without that story. Okay, I've got like a list of a couple of things. One of them was unschooling, and one of them, and I really want, because I'm so interested to hear this. How did you manifest your daughter? Please tell us.
Well, I actually didn't realize I manifested her until I learned about manifesting and the law of attraction, and how that all works. But when I was around between 12 and 14 years old, there were these documentaries that came on TV about, they were called the dying rooms. And they were about the baby girls that were left in orphanages in China literally to die. They weren't fed. They were just literally left to die. And hence they were called the dying rooms. And I remember saying to my mom, one day I'm going to adopt my daughter from China. And I kept articles, I kept cutouts, all through my teenage years. I was like, I had this in my head, I will adopt my daughter from China. And so, like I said, when I met Jason, one of my stipulations was that I want to adopt my daughter from China. And I then got busy with having my babies, had 3 boys, and then we made the decision to move to Taiwan, or to Kinmen first and then to Taiwan. And Jason turned around to me the one day and he said, you know what this means? And I was like, what? He goes, we'll be that much closer to our daughter. And I was like, wow, of course, we like right there. So it turns out she came from Taiwan because we ended up adopting her while we were living in Taiwan. And so, I fully believe that I manifested her. Well, my husband and I both, because we were both wanting our baby girl. So.
And Jason just said it was amazing. He's still on here. Look at him. And Marilyn says, awesome. So I've been wanting to, I often say to my tribe, you can't manifest an idea and go and eat a sandwich, but you have to manifest it first. You have to give effort to it. You have to give energy to it. This is the whole inspiration is for dickheads, dreamers are for dreamers. Absolutely. But there's plenty of us out there doing what we say. But we had to actually come up with the idea first, give ourselves the credit to think about that self-awareness, what we want. And in your case, your beautiful daughter, like that is so cool. I can't wait to hug her. She's scrumptious. If you just joined us, I weirdly stalk Starrwyn and her family on the internet all the time.
I can't wait for you to come visit.
Oh, I'm just going to knock on your door. I'm just going to be like, I'm here. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you because it's going to be so horrible coming to Mauritius. I just seriously probably.
I know it's
anything worse.
It's really going to suck. The palm trees, the coconuts, the blue water, the blue skies. It's really going to be horrible.
That's it. It's going to be shit out. It's going to be shit out. I can't. And Jason says faith, belief, and expectation. Jason, I am so in line with you. And Jeffrey, you guys that have just joined us, Jason is Starrwyn's husband. Beautiful husband. We have had chats about him previously in the show. I think you've got to have faith in the journey, don't you? You've got to trust the process, and you've got to know that. And I actually believe that you've already got a plan. A lot of us are living what I call our obligatory selves, our little selves. Our little selves, the little Abby, the downloaded bug version app. We're not in touch with our plan A. We're not in touch with who we are because we get busy. We're like a train rolling through the freaking mountains, and we don't take the time to look at the granite rocks, and we're just so busy doing all the things that we have to do because that's what we get told that we have to do, that we forget who the frick we are and what we're capable of. And then you get so scared to break free of that whole captive state. Like I said to Cassie the other day, watch your beautiful little twins when they start walking. That they're a blank slate. When they're born, they're a blank slate. They don't have these limiting beliefs. They don't have these fears. They walk.
They fall down. They get back up.
They get back up. The reason that they come into adulthood with limiting beliefs is because we put it on them. And that's what happened to us. We borrow, we learn, we observe our limiting beliefs and fears from everyone else. So sometimes when you break away from that, you in the beginning, because we teach how to use limiting beliefs as a tool. Which is really cool. No one else does that. We teach people how to dissolve the whole notion of fear, which is really cool. But in the beginning, you've got to trust the process, and you've got to get in touch with your plan A, with your bigger self, and realize that the shit that you think about late at night when you're at home, alone in your own home, drinking a wine, and that like little thing pops up going, oh, what if? Oh, imagine. I'd really like to listen to it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, listen to it, grab it, catch it,
And just because you've made a decision for one path doesn't mean you can't change your decision and go on something that serves you better.
Absolutely. And we do that all the time in our businesses, don't we? It bends, it molds, it develops, and I talk about coming into your true self and coming out as this beautiful butterfly. And then, be grateful for those cocoon moments when you need to branch out again. You go back to your cocoon. Everything that's happened to you happens for a reason. This is all the tools that you need to go into this next transition of your life. Now, Lisa, I'm talking to you. I can see that Lisa's on here. Lisa, I'm talking to you. Okay, but we get so stuck. And I love that you brought up the limiting belief around money and our relationship with money. I was taught that money was so hard to come by, and that you had to work really hard to earn a substantial amount of money, and it was quite easy to lose. So I hated spending money. I used to have tens of thousands of dollars in my bank account, and I wouldn't go on holidays because I was like, oh, can't take $2,000 away from my $50,000 or my $60,000. No, it's got to stay safe in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I started my business, I had the least amount of money that I'd had since I was 18 or 19, because I'd gone all in. I was like, I want to develop this now. I want it done for me within 6 months. I want to start this life. And now I look at money very, very differently. I don't look at money. It's an opportunity. Smart people put their money in things that make them money. Smart people do. And they realize that they don't let fear stop them. And money is a big one, especially for women.
Yeah.
Money is a big one. They go, oh, I've got to spend money. Fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's an opportunity if you want to look at it properly. It just depends on how you workshop that. So.
Absolutely. Yep.
Jason says, I love your husband. I think we need to give him a gold star because he's been the biggest contributor today. Yes, Lisa, she says, I'm listening. I'll be talking to you soon. You need to learn how to consciously engineer your life reality. Yeah, absolutely. And part of that, Jason, and Starrwyn, do you agree with me? And I want you to comment on what Jason has said, please. Is being conscious of your thoughts and conscious of what you want.
Yep. That is a big thing. And I have a little thing that I do because, like I said, it took me a long time to overcome limiting beliefs and change the way I think and look at things. Wayne Dyer, I love him, has a quote, change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so if I do catch myself, and even though of the work that I do on myself, there's still times when I have those thoughts, but I'm conscious of them now. So I think a thought and immediately I'll say, delete, and then I replace that with something that's, more positive or that serves me better. So for sure, you've got to be conscious of the way you think, the way you speak, because it's all energy. So what you're putting out there is what you're going to receive back.
Absolutely.
How it is.
I'm 100% aligned with everything that you're saying. Starrwyn, I think we should do this again a little bit down the track. What do you reckon?
I reckon we should.
Maybe I should just pack the girls up, come to Mauritius, and we could do it side by side over a beer on the couch.
That would be even better.
Yeah, I just have to get over how terrible it would be being in Mauritius. I just have to.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And Jason, he says again, guard your thoughts. What you think about comes about. It does. Absolutely does. Absolutely. Your brain will actually look for evidence to validate whatever it is you're thinking. So if you're thinking you're going to fail, your brain will look for reasons and distort them and generalize to give you evidence that you're going to fail. If you are looking for reasons for you to be successful, your brain will look for those things. Absolutely. Jason. We should get Jason on here.
And the thing with that as well, you like you say, you create your reality. And sometimes you're sitting in a situation where you think, what did I do to create this? But you can actually then, what the situation you're in is what you've created. So anything going forward will be a better reality that you're creating, right? So when you start, changing the way you look at things, yes, maybe you're sitting in a shithole at the moment, but it's because of the choices you've made that you are sitting where you are. But you can get out of that by looking at life differently, making better choices for yourself, changing the words that you speak, the thoughts that you have, the decisions that you make. So even if you're sitting in a situation where it's unhappy at the moment, you don't have to stay there. You can actually get out of that situation. It may take some time because nothing happens overnight. But yeah, it's possible to live your life differently.
Absolutely.
But you need to be prepared to actually make some change. Like you were saying, you can't manifest and then go eat a sandwich.
You have to take action in there somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
In there somewhere. And imagine a life, guys, people often say, what Starrwyn and I are doing, it's you've got to have something special, or you've got to have, no, you don't. The difference between you guys and us is that we stopped waiting for a start, because the biggest mistake everyone makes is that they sit around and they wait for something to change for them. So we took action on our own selves, and we actually worked out what it is that we wanted. And You know, imagine a life, and I love it now because I always used to imagine a life where I'd laugh more and I'd smile more and I'd be able to relax and take time out. And for a long time there, I was like, oh, that's never going to happen. You know, that's never going to happen. But, you know, you give time and energy to it. And then you start hanging out with the right people, with people that think the same as you, that are doing what you want to do. And all of a sudden that speeds up.
Exactly.
Lisa just said, because you were talking about the words that you speak, Lisa on here just said, so because she knows that I'm quite a big swearer off camera. So she's told me that I'm not allowed to swear anymore.
Words, for me, words are words. There's no sort of good words and there's no bad words. Like when you're saying a swear word. For me, fuck is a very good word if you're needing to really say something with passion, and also if you stub your toe. But I think it's the intention more so behind the word. So it's not necessarily the word, it's the intention behind the word.
Absolutely. Words are just a label. I think you can actually explain like the whole scenario of the emotional scale using the word fuck if you wanted to. It's a brilliant word. When you say, I'm like,
You know, I know with my kids when they were little, kids were like, oh, that's a naughty word. And I would always say to my kids, there are no naughty words. Words are words. But it's the intention you have behind the word.
That's it.
You know, if I want to, so, yeah.
That's it. I'm going to tell you a private example about that, Starrwyn. I'm going to tell you one that I can't tell on camera. And look, your husband started again. He says, Lisa says, oh my God, Jason, I like your comments. He's written, if you don't change the way you do things, how can you expect a different outcome? We spoke about that yesterday, don't you? That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome.
Absolutely.
Starrwyn, my beautiful lady, I have had you on here for an hour now.
Wow, that went so quick.
I know, and I am so grateful and so honoured that you took the time to do this with me. I would love to do it with you again. I thank you for your strength in your vulnerability. I thank you for wearing your truth as your armour. You know that I have so much time and love for you, and that I would absolutely actually enjoy coming to Mauritius to see us.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby. And you know, I love you too. And I love hanging out with people who are like-minded. And you know, you don't always find that in your day-to-day surroundings because people are so ingrained in their day-to-day. And so a lot of my tribe, I have this amazing communication tool that we have now called the interwebs.
Yes.
So, yeah.
On that, if people are looking for you, Starrwyn, where do they find you? What can you offer to do for them? What do you do? And let's reinforce what that is and tell people where they can find you so that they can weirdly stalk you like I do.
All right. Well, on social media and everywhere, I'm Starrwyn. You can find me pretty much everywhere, just Starrwyn. I also have my page, Starrwyn Barefoot Mom, starrwyn.com. And I have the founder of Digital Rockstar, so I help you rock your life and your business. So it's with your mindset, because unless you get your mindset right, nothing else in your life is going to actually matter, because whether it's business, life, relationships, money, unless you get your mindset right, that's the foundation of everything. So and I'm also with the Sexy Brand Building Formula. So I'm here to help you package up your personality and create a life and a business that you love and that rocks online.
Yes, I love it. Now, Starrwyn, because last thing before you go, I often tell people that I hang out with women that lift, that enlighten, that I learn from, that act at a high frequency, and I want to frequently be around. I believe, see, a lot of people that work together online, they're in competition, but we work together. I believe that you may have completed an ebook and a course. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have my ebook.
Is that ready to for people to get yet or not?
Yeah, no, it's there. It's 5 Steps ebook. I can give you the link. It's probably easier that you just do it that way. But 5 Steps ebook.starrwyn.com.
I love it. Starrwyn, would you mind putting the link, only if you want to, and I'm sure that you do, the link to your ebook under the Facebook Live, so that if people do want to check out your ebook, that they can.
For sure. Thank you, Abby.
No, thank you. I love you so much. I know what you do is absolutely beneficial. I mean, I utilize you all the time. Especially all the tech stuff.
I was going to say, I'm the technical and marketing tactician, so yeah, I can.
Exactly. I'm definitely
Yeah,
not. I'll stick with the mindset stuff, and you can all the tech stuff that you want. Awesome. Okay, everyone said true, cool. I will look that up. Good, yeah, Lisa, definitely. Get it. Please get it. Starrwyn will put the link to her ebook, and we'll put links to Starrwyn's pages where you can find her, where you can stalk her, where you can access all of her stuff, and be a part of her tribe as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love you with all my heart.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we get to hang out again Wednesday morning. So in our sexy brand building formula. Yeah, we've got our second class for the sexy brand building formula. Those ladies, talk about action takers. Holy
wow. Yep. Amazing. This last class, that was amazing breakthroughs we had there.
Phenomenal. So I look forward to seeing you there. Look, Marilyn's here. There's a couple of them. They're all like, love, you guys are unstoppable. They're already using those. I saw Darlene put the other day, she had a reframe under one of the, amazing. She was just, anyway, I'm getting carried away now. So yeah.
So we are helping women make their own money, become powerful, and unstoppable.
And I love that, unstoppable.
And abundant.
Now I'm getting carried away. I know. It's getting to the end of the night, so we're both getting, well, you're mid-afternoon, so you're probably about beer o'clock on a Saturday. I'm going, I should probably have a wine with dinner very soon, and I'll let you go. Hey, much love to Jason, and thank you so much, Jason, for your contributions. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. Starrwyn, once again, thank you so much for your strength and vulnerability and honesty and power, and we will definitely do this again sometime soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Abby.
Much love to you all, guys. See you later. Make sure you stalk her on Facebook.